I can see the halfway point. It is so tantalizingly close. But we have 2 more episodes to talk about before we even reach halfway point, the halfway point in my journey. So, let's go ahead and knock one of those out. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strong from QuakeTime Reactions, and you find me on my way to Mandalorian and Grogu, in which I am reviewing every single episode from the Mandalorian TV show, seasons 1 through 3, as well as talking about Book of Boba Fett. And today we are here to talk about Season 2, Episode 7, aka Chapter 15, The Believer. This episode was written and directed by Rick Famuyiwa, who returns from Season 1. And in this episode, Mando, Boba, and crew break out someone from Mando's past to try and help him get the coordinates to Moff Gideon's ship so that he can try and rescue the child. In the meanwhile, all sorts of chaos ensues in doing so. So, are they going to be able to get out safely and with the coordinates? We'll have to wait and see. So, I really enjoyed this episode. Like, there were 2 really good action set pieces, as well as a bit of nostalgia that, of course, I will talk about in a little bit. But, of course, the person that I am alluding to from Mando's past is, of course, Mayfeld, who was brought up at the tail end of the last episode, episode 6, which means we have Bill Burr back for this episode. And we actually see him in a scrapyard cutting up old Imperial stuff. In fact, I think he's cutting up a TIE fighter when an officer droid comes over and says his prison number and says, "You report to Marshal Dune now, and, you do whatever she says." And, of course, Mayfeld's a little bit hesitant about it, but goes along with it. They make it over to the Slave One ship, and we get to see Boba not only in his armor, but in his cleaned up armor. Because you remember at the end of episode 6, it was still very raggedy from when Cobb Vanth had it at the beginning of the season. But now it's all cleaned up. It looks really good. It just looks so good cleaned up. And I love Mayfeld's reaction. I was like, oh, I thought you were somebody else. And then Mando walks out of the ship. So, the reason why they got Mayfeld was because he is ex-Imperial, which means that he can try and get into the Imperial database and get the coordinates to Moff Gideon's ship. But the only place that they could potentially get in somewhere is Morak, which is an Imperial mining site. And they get there and they realize that they are transporting and mining rhydonium, which is a very volatile and explosive substance. And so they're trying to formulate a plan as to who is going to go on the cargo, I'm going to call it a cargo crawler, to basically get the rhydonium to the base so that they can get inside. Kara can't because, one, she's a New Republic officer, and anybody registered with the New Republic is going to immediately get killed. Fennec can't, because she's won by the ISB, and the base is ran by ex-ISB. Boba can't because, well, they may recognize him, and so it is Mayfeld and Mando. And Mando, well, he's going to have to take off his helmet to do so. But I do like the clever workaround that the shore troopers that are in the crawler have armor. And so he basically wears the shore trooper armor and helmet basically all the time. Basically, no one can see his face. And I love the conversation that, Bill Burr, Mayfeld has with Mando in this instance, where it's like, you have a steadfast rule set, but once, things get dire for you, you start to change up your rules a little bit. Which is it? You can't take your helmet off or you can't show your face. Which one is it? And when they pass through a village, he's like, whether it's New Republic, Empire, it doesn't matter. It's basically, we're trespassers where we are. Where we are right now in this thing. We're trespassers. We're impeding on their land. And, talks about how him and Mando are the exact same. They're survivors just trying to get through the day. And, if you can go to sleep at night, then you're doing better than most. Like, this is a real good performance from Burr. Like, I know that he was a really good comedian, but here he got to really show off his acting chops here. Sure enough, other crawlers transporting Rhydonium, they are exploding because there are pirates out to basically destroy these crawlers. And I like how Mando has to adapt. Like, he uses the armor to try and, absorb the shots, but since the armor's not made out of Beskar, he's gonna get lit up a little bit, and it's gonna hurt. So he has to adapt his fighting style, which I really appreciated. He handles Wave 1 well. Wave 2 almost gets him, but he takes off the thermal detonator that they placed on the Rhydonium, hoys it back to the pirates, and they all explode. They're almost to the base when a whole swathe of pirates has shown up. Every single one of them has a thermal detonator, but then TIE fighters show up and start wiping out the pirates. And when have you ever cheered for a TIE fighter in Star Wars? And also stormtroopers as well. That is very much a first. So they're able to get into the base, and Mayfeld is able to spot a place where they can get the coordinates. But there's someone in the mess hall that might recognize Mayfeld. And it is a character by the name of Valen Hess, who Mayfeld used to serve under. So Mando has to go in. And Mayfeld tells him, it's only going to recognize you if you scan your face. And sure enough, when Mando gets up there, tries to scan his helmet, no good. And so he takes the helmet off, which just shows you how much he cares for Grogu and wanting him to, be back with him safely. And sure enough, scans his face, he gets in, and he gets the coordinates. But of course, Hess spots him and starts asking him all sorts of questions. Now, I should mention that Valen Hess is played by legendary actor Richard Brake. Now, Richard Brake is very much known, for his horror movie stuff. Like, he was in all 3 of the new Strangers movies. He's in Barbarian. He's in Sisu Road to Revenge. Like, most of the time, he is playing either a really creepy dude or a really villainous dude. And you know what? He pulls that off tremendously in this. So he starts asking Mando all these questions, but luckily Mayfeld comes in with the save. I also love the line that he says, hey, we need to go fill out those TPS reports. TPS reports I forget what that's a reference to, but TPS reports aren't real. And Hess doesn't let them go yet, and they should toast to the fact that they were the only pair of troopers to bring in their Rhydonium shipments. And sure enough, they sit at the table, and Mayfeld, because Hess says, what should we celebrate? And Mayfeld says, well, what about Operation Cinder? And when I first saw this episode all the way back in 2020, that rang a bell in my head because I played a little bit of Battlefront 2. And I remember from the story that Operation Cinder was a very big deal, which was basically one of the Emperor's, I believe, contingency plans. And that was to basically just set fire to all sorts of towns, essentially. I'm being broad about it because I didn't play through all of Battlefront 2's story mode. But I did remember Operation Cinder. And, Mayfeld is going on about, well, what about the lives lost that day? Because I was there for it. And, we lost maybe 10,000 guys. Well, what about the families that were just trying to protect their home? Kids, all that stuff. And you can see it's starting to eat at him a little bit. And Hess is giving his explanation. Meanwhile, Mando looks over at Mayfeld and he's subtly shaking his head don't do this, don't do it. And sure enough, when Hess says to the Empire, Mayfeld pulls out a blaster and shoots Hess in the middle of the mess hall, which of course causes commotion and a full-on shootout happens. And of course, Mayfeld hands back Mando his temporary helmet and says, I never saw your face. Let's just get moving. And so they're able to get out of the mess hall through the back windows, which I don't think you would even call those windows. They're basically big shutters. And Fennec and Kara are up on a hill, basically acting as snipers, taking out any stray shore troopers, as well as taking out the aircraft guns that are up on the roof, any of the aircraft gunners that are up on the roof. And so Mando and Mayfield are able to escape. They hop onto the Slave One, and Mayfeld says, hand me that rifle for a second, which was the rifle that Boba had been carrying around. And he picks up that rifle, takes a shot, and boom, hits one of the crawlers that was carrying Rhydonium and blows up the entirety of the base. But they're not done yet because there are a couple of TIE fighters on them. But Boba pulls out the sonic grenade that I believe Jango used in the prequel movies. With the amazing sound effect where the explosion happens and then it's just that grenade. And it is so good to hear that every single time because it's so satisfying. So satisfying. And I can guarantee you that when this episode first came out, the entire internet had a collective orgasm hearing that sound effect for the first time in quite a while. You can mark my words on that. And so they're able to regroup, and of course, Mando thanks Mayfeld for all he did, and Mayfeld's like, no problem, all right, take me back in. And, Kara points out, that he had a really good shot back there. Mayfeld's like, oh, that wasn't anything. That wasn't part of the plan. I just needed to get some stuff off my shoulders there. And then Kara looks at Mando as like, well, that's a shame that, Mayfeld wasn't able to get out of there. It's unfortunate that he had to die in that, Rhydonium explosion on Morag. And, basically giving Mayfeld the clue, like, hey, you're free to go. And so Mayfeld makes his way away from the ship, and the crew now has the coordinates. Cut to Moff Gideon's ship, and Katie O'Brien's character lets Moff Gideon know that he has a message, and it's from Mando. And Mando repeats the exact same message that Moff Gideon gave back in Season 1, Episode 7. You have something that I want, and you don't know the importance of it yet, but you will soon, because he means more to me than you will ever know. And that's where the episode ends. So the final episode is going to have some fireworks, and oh boy, does it ever have some fireworks. But that is my review for Season 2, Episode 7 of The Mandalorian. It was a really, really fun episode. I'm really glad that Bill Burr was given a second chance on this series. He was really, really good in this episode. And it was just overall really, really fun. And I'm so excited to check out the finale. But in the meantime, guys, be safe out there, and always remember to maybe try and get a companion on your journeys, because you never know. They may lead you onto a new path, a new way, shall we say, and that may be for the better. I'll catch you guys next time.